Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. And what a beautiful little bounce day we had in the markets here today, guys. Everything pretty much in the green. So much needed bounce after being in oversold conditions at the end of last week, which is what we were saying here. Now we need to see the size of the bounce. Is this bounce for real? Or is it going to get rolled over like last week's bounce by the bears once more? We will see. But today we're going to cover a couple earnings that came out. We're going to cover ON Semiconductors. We're going to cover McDonald's earnings. And lastly, Pinterest earnings here, guys. So we're also going to do, as usual, our major indexes here and our major tech names to wrap it up. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. You can see SPY up 1.2% here on the day. QQQ up 1.13%, and a lot of our indexes here actually in the green. Nice little push-ups here by financials and Dow Jones as well, guys. So you can see here on the heat map, fairly good broad market performance today, guys. That's what you like to see on a day of a bounce. You don't like to see it all being led by big tech. You want to see the entire market participating here after oversold conditions. Tesla, however, not having the greatest day as fears of lowering EV sales tend to plague them here as well. So on the one-day relative performance, you can see all of our major sectors here in the green here, reversing a bit of last week's losses, but not enough to really put everything in the green on a one-week relative performance yet. So without further ado, let's get into our first earnings, guys. And we're going to cover ON Semiconductor first. You guys know I've talked about this play a few times on the channel, but over here in the $90 to $100 range, it was getting fairly rich, guys. But earnings here, complete disaster here, guys. You can see on the day, they reported earlier in the morning here, down 22% on the day. Really getting pummeled here during the day. Oversold conditions as of now. Why was that? Well, you can see here, guys, they did have a double beat on earnings and beat on EPS. However, as been the story of a lot of companies this quarter here, guys, the guidance was just not on par. However, now that it's back in the $60 range, this is where I like this company. You can see it's traded a lot here in the $60 range. This is exactly where I want this company. So if we do get a little bit more of an extended drawdown, potentially into the high 50 range, I will be picking up some shares. So let's go over the earnings briefly here. Shares of ON Semiconductor fall 21% as fourth quarter guidance disappoints Wall Street. They guided down by about 10%, guys, and that was enough to send the stock down 21%, especially when you're running fairly lofty price levels. This stock not selling off as much as some other stocks in the past 3 weeks here, or in the past 2 months even. It was due for a correction if they did miss earnings, and that's exactly what happened here, guys. So let's go over it very briefly, yeah? So the company said it expects revenue to fall between 1.95 and 2.05 billion. Wall Street was expecting much higher, about 10% higher here for the next quarter of 2.2 billion roughly here. And analysts said that investors should remain cautious here. What happened? Well, ON Semiconductors, guys, is a big producer of chips for AV vehicles here. So Tesla is, when they can't get NVIDIA chips, they have run a few times to ON Semiconductor for their chips here. And the CEO actually said that a lot of the negative sentiment here around their earnings was due to one single company, one American car manufacturer, pulling back their EV projected forecasts here for production here, and that's what hurt them. He wouldn't name which car company, so we don't know if it's Ford, GM, Tesla. We don't know which one has pulled back a lot of orders from ON Semiconductor yet, but that was the main factor here for the drop here, guys, pretty much here. So you can see that analysts at Deutsche Bank said ON Semiconductor's guidance suggests the company has financially finally succumbed to macro pressures. So talking here about the drop in demand for cars as a whole. Following this disappointing outlook, we're not surprised by today's stock move, as investors are likely wary of ON returning to its cyclical patterns of old here. So very worried about ON dropping in terms of productivity here and in terms of net profit margins after their customers are pulling back on production, or on demand rather, for their chips here. So a bit of a tough day on the stock here, guys. But as you guys know, I've brought the stock up in the channel. They do have a fairly decent little margin of error to be working with here. You can see that on a quarterly basis, their net profit margins are always in the high 20%, guys. And that's definitely what you want to see. After this drop here today, their PE ratio is sitting under 20. So it is getting more attractive. And like I said, this is a very good area of previous support. So if we do pull back here into the high 50 zone, I may be looking at this stock in this area right here. You can see the 200 weekly moving average here down as well. So we'll be looking for some shares potentially in the higher to mid $50 range. If we do pull back into there, guys, I do think it's a very decent area to be writing some options, considering the support and considering how well this company usually does, guys. They don't have that much debt. They have fairly decent cash and cash equivalents on hand. And when you see oversold conditions here running into a very large area of support, it could be an area for a bounce zone. So that's pretty much it for ON Semiconductors. The next one up here, McDonald's, and this one, just to do a quick recap, guys, right? These issues are all but temporary here. After the next 6 months, they should be able to recover their demand fairly well. So it is a cyclical business, as a lot of their demand comes from car manufacturers here. So company number 2 will be McDonald's here. So let's jump into McDonald's earnings, guys. McDonald's once again crushed it. You can see that McDonald's has been in a heck of a sell-off here over the past couple of months here, culminating in coming down to a price of almost $245 back in this whole general area of support. Yes, it could have fallen a bit more down to the 230s here, but the bulls kind of set the brakes here in the mid 240s, not quite tagging our 200 weekly moving average. McDonald's with their earnings, guys, proving once again that they do have pricing power here. They have raised prices, and it has not hurt demand as much as people would have thought. Double beat here, double beat on EPS and revenue here, and they issued some fairly good guidance as well. So McDonald's stock underway with a nice little daily bounce here, guys, right? So they were up not that much on the day, roughly about 2%, but good enough for McDonald's shareholders here. You can see McDonald's revenue climbs 14%. Always great to see a company as big as McDonald's putting up double-digit numbers here in terms of revenue growth as price hikes boost U.S. sales. Very, very good. Look at this, guys. This is absolutely amazing, guys. We went over this with Chipotle as well, right? In terms of growth of same-store sales. So the company's global same-store sales grew 8.8% in the quarter. Very, very good, beating the street estimates here of 7.8%. And the U.S. same-store sales increased 8.1%, fueled by strategic price increases. Very, very, very good report by McDonald's as a whole. No red flags that I could see whatsoever here. And here we go here, guys, right? It's clear that our customers continue to seek reasonably priced meals as rising costs persist and our markets around the world continue to respond. So you have a bit of price elasticity here to where people are now pivoting down from more expensive meals and eating at McDonald's more. So even though McDonald's has increased its prices, you have a whole bunch of consumers coming down from higher levels of income here, right? That would potentially, when they do eat out here, you know, instead of eating out $20, $30, $40 a meal, they just may throw in 1 or 2 McDonald's here or some fast food as a replacement option to keep costs low for the household here. So very, very, very decent, guys. You can see they did beat on EPS and revenue, as we did go over here, right? And the double-digit beat here on revenue, up 14%. Very, very, very good here, guys. Very, very good as a whole. So they are targeting, obviously, McDonald's, right, being a more restaurant that caters to more low-income people. You'll see right here, McDonald's U.S. traffic fell, right? Fell, but they were able to bring down some consumers from higher price points. So marking the first quarter this year that the metric dipped in terms of total traffic. Across the restaurant industry, consumers making less than $45,000 visited less often, which is normal. You know that these people faced with rising inflation costs, they will just stop eating out altogether. So maybe they could only afford places like McDonald's and Chipotle, but now they're just not going out to eat at all, accounting for the drop in McDonald's traffic, according to the CEO here, right? So very, very close metric that they keep an eye on here. This also is a temporary event, right? But McDonald's gained market share with middle and high income consumers, signaling that those diners are trading down from more expensive options, which is what we were just speaking about here, guys. So very, very decent report by McDonald's here. Yes, guys, we do have a drop in terms of total traffic to the stores, which is normal, but McDonald's has been able to offset that lower bit of demand by increasing its prices ever so slightly. And they do so much volume that it does tend to compensate quite well. And that's why they did have positive revenue quarter over quarter here. And that's why they did have positive same store sales across globally and the US market. So decent little rebound here from McDonald's here. As you guys know, if we continue to dip down here in the lower 240 areas, guys, this is my sweet spot for McDonald's. Anything under 240 for me becomes a buy from this stock. We obviously have just rebounded out of oversold conditions. So if we do ever tend back in that area, if macro continues to potentially deteriorate and McDonald's comes down 240, 230 area, I'll definitely be looking to write some options here into last year's previous lows. And lastly but not least, guys, we do have Pinterest earnings here, guys. So let's take a look at Pinterest, because I know this was a very, very popular stock as of the most recent years here, but it has obviously fallen off a cliff here as the drop in revenue after pretty much the events of 2020 and 2021 has been plaguing this company. So have they done a good job of getting it back? Let's take a look. right? EPS beat of 36%. So very, very good. And also a beat on revenue. Pinterest problem, guys, has always been their net income, okay? So here is their net income for the last few quarters. You can see that it's always negative. You see these negative profit margins and negative net income for the most part, except for Q4 of 2022. That is what is plaguing this company, guys, in an environment with high interest rates, guys. Investors don't like companies that are not posting positive net margins. It's just not good. It's just not good that they have to rely on more and more debt to fund their business, especially at the higher interest rates. So that's what's been plaguing this company for a considerable amount of time here now. But this quarter was slightly different here. They did post positive net income for the first time in a couple quarters here. So you'll see Pinterest report an 11% increase in third quarter sales, topping the analyst estimates. The expenses rose nearly 2%. That's fine, not that big of a rise in expenses here. And they did rise off of the back of advertising business doing fairly well, which is what Meta said as well here. So Pinterest up significantly here in the after hours trading session, guys. You will see, look at this big move here on the day. 16% in the after hours. Heck of a little gain for Pinterest. Back up to $29, right? So back up above this whole little range here. Will they be able to hold the top of this range and use it as support and really reset into potentially a nice little weekly uptrend here and start gaining back some of the levels? That is what we need to see on Pinterest. But as a whole, guys, Pinterest, very pleased with this report, but one report for them is not going to be enough for me to kind of sway me to invest in this company, guys. I don't like to invest in companies with negative consecutive quarters of negative net margins here, guys. It's good that they got one quarter, but I need to see them consistently be profitable quarter over quarter to make this a valid investment for me in the futures here, guys. So this is what the CEO had to say as we lean into Pinterest's unique differentiators as visual search, discovery, and shopping platform. We're finding our best product market fit in years. So they're still building the company, guys. They're still trying to onboard advertisers to their platform. What I did like to see here, guys, is the fact that they did grow their net user base from quite a lot here. So look, the number of global monthly active users in the quarter rose 8% from a year ago earlier to 482 million. Analysts were expecting Pinterest to report 473 million of global monthly active users. So nice beat by about 9 million people here as a whole, which is very, very good. And this is a significant amount of people using the platform, guys. Nothing to shy away at, right? But they do need to bring more of that money to their bottom line here. It goes into the fact that, you know, we start comparing them to Meta and Snapchat. They do raise a little bit of concerns in terms of the most recent Middle East crisis and whatnot here. But overall, guys, fairly decent report here by Pinterest. But like I've been saying, guys, not to smash this one to bits here, but what we want to see is positive net income. You can see Pinterest swung to a net income of 6.73 million or a penny share from a loss of 65 million during the year earlier period. So they are reporting net income, but just not enough, guys. One quarter is not enough to do it for me. I need to see several more quarters of net income. So unfortunately, this one, even though it is at a fairly lower level here, is a pass for me in this market environment of high rates, unfortunately, guys. So that's it for Pinterest. Now, let us get into our technical analysis for our major indexes, and then we'll do tech names towards the end here. So our bounce is underway, but as you guys saw last week, 2 days of bounce is not enough, right? If you just bounce a tiny little bit, you give the bears the opportunity to roll over. So will this one be the same, or will they be able to change it here? Well, we need to measure the size of the bounce, guys. And at least the most recent leg is not too far. Need to see the bulls get as close as possible to 425, this little area right here. If we get as close as possible to 425, set up the chance for daily uptrend. But if we only have another little day of bounce, and then Jerome Powell on Wednesday simply crushes us, well, we are going to continue to roll over to lower lows. It's very good, guys, that we're in our area of support here, which you guys know. Sorry, I took it off the chart, but it's pretty much 420 all the way down to the lower 400s. So the bulls are reacting nicely from this area currently, but we could have a little bit more to fall if ever we get crushed by Jerome Powell being very, very hawkish. And at that point, we'd be relying on our last areas of support, sub 410 all the way down to 400 here. So the size of the bounce is key. But what I like is that QQQ didn't cause all of this bounce today as it had last week. The entire market was bouncing. XLF and XLV are crucial for SPY. So if we want to see a nice little bounce up here, I need to see it performing from XLF and XLV as well here. Now let's jump into QQQ. QQQ, same thing. QQQ was actually leading today. As you can see, most of our major tech names here, very, very, very good days, except for Tesla, of course, here, but a lot of 2% plus gains, right? Meta, Google almost, Microsoft, Apple putting in a good day, and Amazon almost 4%. Very, very good day by Amazon here. So QQQ, same concept here. We will be looking for the size of the bounce, get me as close to 360 as possible, and you can set up the daily trend change. Have only one more day and then get crushed on Wednesday by this resistance line and Jerome Powell's hawkishness. And we will just be retargeting the lower end of this channel, 340, and then it's all the way down to around 335 for your next big area of support where you could see some bullish action here. So one day is not enough. It's good that they bounce, but we need to take this day by day, see if we can get as close as possible to 359. I'll remind you, daily downtrend, just looking for the lower high. Now it just depends how high is the lower high going to get. Lower high here and start rolling over, you're pretty much expected the bears to roll this over, right? But put in a lower high here or equal our previous high right here, and you have a better chance of setting up for a daily uptrend reversal and have a better chance of getting our weekly bounce underway from the bottoming of this channel here. Now let's move on to XLF Financials. XLF Financials, heck of a day, guys. 1.8% erasing Friday's absolute disaster here. So we will see if the bulls can get it done. What I like though, look, leg number one, leg number two was only one day, and you see how close we are now to this most recent high of 3240 roughly. Decent little resistance area, right? Previous support right here acted as resistance all of last week. So we will see, can the bulls take advantage of this short leg and kind of get us back above to 3240? If we can do that, we could be setting up for a potential reversal on the daily uptrend here. Daily uptrend reversal would mean that your weekly bounce is underway. Then we'll need to get as close as possible to pretty much 34, right? So big ask to be had by the bulls here. But step number one is obviously reversing this daily downtrend into a daily uptrend. So we will see, can the bulls get it done? If for some reason we just continue rolling over, well, you guys know this is the big reaction zone down here, 31.50 all the way down to $31, guys. This is why it reacted from there. It's been reacting from there for the better part of the last pretty much year and a half at this point. So weekly downtrend, yes, is a thing. We're looking for the bulls to reverse. And if I had to put my money on it, and which I will, if you continue heading down into this area, guys, I will be looking for 30.5, $30 in terms of short puts, because I would like to pick up financials indexes if they do get all the way down there. But as of now, just bouncing from our oversold conditions, need to measure the size of the bounce for the daily uptrend reversal. Needs to be more than one day, guys. And now XLV Healthcare putting in a little bit of a bounce as well, but not as significant as XLF, unfortunately. So you could see, guys, like 9-10 days of trading down pretty much. One day is not going to cut it for me, especially when you're dealing with this big area that we flushed, right? 127 down to 125. We know that this was a very big area of support in the past. So it would not surprise me if it's going to be tough for the bulls unless we get a heck of a day on Wednesday. Like tomorrow could come up a little bit. If Jerome Powell blesses us and we get a very green market on Wednesday, then you could get the juice to really start recapturing some of this area, guys. But if it's bad, we're just going to bounce off this area and potentially head to lower lows at this point, guys. Very strong momentum to the downside. We are still oversold on XLV here. I need XLV to come in to participate a little bit more in this most recent rally. If we continue selling off in this weekly downtrend, you guys know the line in the sand level for me is 120. 120, really can't lose that, guys, because it is your monthly level, right? Cannot lose this last monthly level, guys, if you want the bulls to have a chance at really getting back close up to the all-time highs leading into early next year here. So crucial moment in time for XLV right now. I need the bulls to start getting into gear here and start reversing some of this massive daily downtrend of the last 9-10 days at this point, right? So get me into this area and then we can talk about potentially setting up the daily trend reversal here, but bounce extra weak and set up a bear flag and you might be rolling over for lows. IWM Russell. IWM Russell is the only sector pretty much that was kind of weak on the day, guys. You can see it was a green day, but red candle. No other sector had a red candle like that. So still relatively weak. Yes, we're trying for the bottoming process, but this is pretty much just a bear flag right now. Could lead to lower lows. We are fairly oversold here on the RSI, but you guys know it could potentially go lower. What's good though is we are in the lift off zone for the bulls here, guys. You guys can see that this whole area was previous support for a while, and we're dealing with previous all-time high resistance, right? All the way back 2020 and 2018 as well. So Russell at its lowest point pretty much in the last 3, 4, 5 years at this point, guys. We will need to see the bulls react from here. This weekly downtrend is very hardcore, right? The past 9-10 weeks of trading only down, and RSI levels pretty much back to where they were lower pretty much last year in June, right? So I need the bulls to do it. So far, not much participation from growth stocks. We will see if our indexes can put in a bit more bounce here. You may see the Russell come alive, but at this point, guys, the lower high is very high. It's back up to 177. So I need to see them at least come up, guys, to about 170. Get me back up to 170. We can talk about the daily trend reversal, hover around down here, and then start to dip you're probably going to get a further leg down here, and we just will not have bottomed yet. So still waiting for the IWM Russell bounce. It is not here yet. Keep an eye on it, guys. I do like this level, guys. If we continue trending down to 160, I'll be trying to write puts here, guys, below 160, potentially in the mid 150 levels. But as of now, still kind of looking like a falling knife until we can put in enough of a move, set the lower high here, and that's when I would be shopping for puts below this high. I don't like trying to catch it on the downswing here without that type of confirmation. Now, lastly, Dow Jones. Dow Jones with a heck of a day, guys, 1.68%, kind of getting back up above this channel. Can they break 33,000? That will be the level I'm watching out for in the next few trading days. Why? Because it was support here in the past, They flushed it a little bit during the March banking crisis, but this is the level I need to see them get back over. And your leg number 2, right? The lower high is right here. 33,285. This guy right here. So you can see nice little bounce. Get me as close as possible to him. And we can talk potentially about the daily trend reversal and start reversing it to the upside for the bulls. Daily uptrend reversal would mean that your weekly bounce is underway. And at that point, guys, right? Level need to watch is 34,200. Need the bulls to get as close as possible to that and reset the weekly uptrend as well. So now that we're kind of getting towards the end of earnings season, guys, it's very probable that we will not see any more volatile drops on the NASDAQ, on the Dow Jones names here. So the bulls could have a decent chance, but I need to see them get back above 32,000, roughly 32,285, right, is going to be the level to watch. So we'll see if they can do it here. If not, if we just set the lower high and roll over the next few days, guys, you know the drill, heading for lower lows. And at that point, your big support level, guys, is going to be 31,500. Definitely cannot lose that, guys. Why? It is your monthly higher low. Cannot lose this level. So we'll take it one day at a time. Now, moving down here, let's move down to our major tech names here, yeah? So, starting off with Apple here. Apple, nice little bounce, 1.23%, but it's not enough yet. 2 days of bounce is not enough, even though the bounce is fairly decent size. I need them to get a bit closer here to 174. Apple, obviously, with earnings on Thursday. So, we'll see what they can do, guys, right? It's either going to be one of two things. Earnings is either going to be positive, we're going to smash the daily downtrend to the downside, right? Daily downtrend. If the bulls engulf, then the bears have lost the daily downtrend, and we could set up for a potential daily uptrend reversal here. But if earnings are bad, we're just going to head to lower lows and pretty much continue this daily downtrend. Apple as well in a weekly downtrend too. So it's going to be very pivotal this week to see if Apple can recapture this and get a nice little weekly bounce going here and then start targeting 183, or are they just going to flush to lower lows, after which we are going to look at our support areas in the lower pretty much 160 all the way down to 150 range, this whole area right here. What's good is Apple did a great job here. As soon as they got to oversold conditions, you can see on the RSI all the way down here that they started to bounce. So we'll take this one day at a time, but one thing's for sure, need to smash this 174 level to really give the bulls a heck of a chance, engulfing move to the upside. Still in my sweet spot area. We will see how earnings play out on Thursday. Crucial, and obviously Jerome Powell on Wednesday too, but Apple doing a good job. I just need to see a bit more of a size of a bounce and then a daily uptrend reversal here. But as of now, the bears still in control of this downtrend if we continue rolling over. Now, AMD had a nice little bounce undergoing today, but couldn't get it done. Obviously, AMD staying fairly muted. That's understandable. They have earnings tomorrow, guys. Big day for AMD tomorrow, that's for sure. So daily downtrend is confirmed by the bears at this point. Just looking for the lower high, anything pretty much below at this point, 101.77 is just going to be a lower high attempt. As size of the bounce matters, key here, guys. If they can bounce up nicely, set up for the daily uptrend, that would be a nice little reversal. We could get a weekly bounce going here. But if we just roll over after earnings, guys, it will be pretty brutal. We are coming down here, guys, and the next area of support is roughly 85 down to $80, guys. So quite a little bit of an area to tumble to if ever we do roll over after earnings here down into this lower area. You can see, guys, we're going to pretty much $85, $80. At that point, I would be probably looking to DCA on my AMD position because it would be fairly good value at that point, guys, right? So we'll see how they do for earnings. Everything is going to be on their net income for this earnings. Right, so we'll see how they do. Can't really comment too much on the technical analysis. Get up high, can set up for the daily trend change. Roll over lower, the daily downtrend just continues by the bears. And then we are going to be looking weekly downtrend will be rolling over as well. We'll be looking to this lower 80s area of support, where I will be heavily looking to DCA into the stock here. So crucial earnings tomorrow. Amazon here, Amazon, one of our names engulfing. If you guys want to know what I mean by the size of the bounce, this is what I mean. Daily downtrend. The last person who started this leg was this guy right here. 128.61. This guy right here. Engulfing move. This is what you want to see when you have a bullish move to the upside here. Obviously, earnings help them with that, but now we are above. So daily downtrend is lost by the bears. Now the bulls need to set the daily uptrend. So any single pullback here is going to be for the higher low compared to this low down here, 118.77, and we're going to look to smash the most recent high whenever this move tops out. This is the move that we're looking for. If you do get your daily uptrend going underway here, well, you know that your weekly low is found here. So weekly, the bears had the weekly for a few days, and now after earnings, the bulls are rejecting it. If you smash 134.50 at this point, guys, your weekly downtrend will be lost. We'll be looking for the bulls to recapture this beautiful move by Amazon. The next few days are key. Can they set the weekly uptrend here? Can they smash 134.56 and also negate this weekly downtrend by the bears? That will be absolutely crucial. Amazon here looking like one of our lead bulls here in terms of recovery after the last 2 weeks of downside here. So very, very good job by Amazon bulls. Just a little bit more. They're either going to take this in one clean shot or we may have to two-step it, but I'm looking for the daily uptrend. Now let's move down to Google. Google also with a fairly decent day of recovery here, 2% after pretty much finding their little earnings bottom, but 1 day of recovery is not enough, right? This move is so brutal to the downside. They were getting oversold conditions here, so we're just looking for a lower high. If the bulls can't bounce high enough here and just stop here and start rolling over, very likely that you may get some follow-through continuation into that daily downtrend. But the bulls are able to bounce all the way to this moving average here to the 130s, then you can set up potentially for a daily uptrend swing reversal here. So crucial next few days on Google here. Jerome Powell is obviously going to have a lot to do with that. Apple earnings on Thursday as well. As you guys know, we covered it in the past weeks. Google has lost the weekly uptrend, but it's not set the weekly downtrend. So it's kind of an in-between right now, guys. Weekly downtrend set would look something like this, right? So now we're kind of in an in-between zone. Can the bulls recover this? Or will we just roll over to lower lows here into my sweet spot? If we do roll over, guys, very, very nice area to be picking up some Google shares, 120 all the way down to 113. Their PE ratio is sitting about 23 right now as it stands. Come down here below 120. And we'll really start getting to that 20 or slightly below 20 area, which is kind of what I'm looking for on Google. Nice little support area down here as well. So we'll take this 1 day at a time. Bulls need to prove it a bit more to us on Google at this point. Now let's move on to Meta. Meta also with a fairly decent little day of recovery here, up 2%. They were up a lot more here, guys, all the way up to about 308, but gave a little bit of it back here. But I like the size of this bounce by Meta, guys. Considerable bounce by Meta at this point, right? If you want me to put the fib on it, they bounced pretty much almost 80%. So 80% of this move down, Meta bulls have now recaptured. That's enough of a bounce to set up for a daily trend change. So step number 1 is complete. Decent size bounce. Now I need to see step number 2. And it helps that we also have a big area of support down here. So if we kind of come down into here like this, could do that and set the weekly, set the daily uptrend as of a new daily uptrend for the bulls, and still looking for them to resume a potential weekly move to the upside here. So step number 1 is complete by Meta. Very, very good job. Now I need to see step number 2, daily uptrend reversal, because as of now, we are still in a daily downtrend. It's up to the bulls to prove it to us to reverse, but Meta acting very nice. So we'll see, can they use this little 3? They've been really hugging this 300 range. Look how much over above. They seem to like that 300 range as a magnet here. So we will see, can the bulls hold roughly close to that and set the daily uptrend reversal here and join Amazon in a more of engulfing move and set the daily uptrend here, right? So keep a close eye on Meta, but for now, I do like the size of the bounce. Now let's move down to Microsoft. Microsoft as well, 2.27% bounce to the upside. So Microsoft, what we were saying last week, we were looking for 324.50 as the low, right? So Microsoft trying desperately to protect this daily uptrend, and now we're back in it, right? So heck of a move down, but the bulls are coming back with a vengeance. Need to target this high right here, 346.25, smash that, and your daily uptrend simply continues here. But if this move was too much for the bulls, may need to find a little tight accumulation range. Use this whole area of support. I like that we got back above it, right? This whole little range right here. So now, are they going to set the daily uptrend furtherance, or are we just maybe going to tighten up for the bulls and potentially blast through here? But if the bears set the daily downtrend at that point, guys, we're just going to be looking for a weekly lower high. Nice little weekly move up by Microsoft. Microsoft has set relatively the weekly uptrend in motion here. So any pullback here pretty much above 310, we'll just be looking for a weekly lower high for a weekly uptrend continuation. So nice move on Microsoft here. Just need to see them play a little bit more offense and then we could have a nice little upswing here ready for Microsoft and start recapturing some of these 340 levels, start sending them higher, and really be sure that this monthly low is set at that point. Now let's move down to NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA. NVIDIA playing very, very dangerous game here around the 400 level, guys. You know that I've been watching this area like a hawk. I've said it in the previous videos as to why it is your weekly low, right? Flush this weekly low, your weekly downtrend would really be confirmed. As of now, it's kind of like a double bottom by a few dollars. Need the bulls to play defense here. It's make or break territory for NVIDIA here. AMD earnings tomorrow are going to be huge potentially for this stock, right? NVIDIA, two things can happen. We're either going to flush this and just continue the daily downtrend here and potentially set a weekly downtrend in motion, which we would be targeting 377 as your next area of support, or the bulls are going to be able to recapture 438. Recapture 438, you might be able to set a new daily uptrend, and then the bulls would once again be saving this 400 area, right? 1, 2, 3 times. So we'll see what they can do, but NVIDIA at a pivotal moment right now. We'll be watching it one day at a time. So those are the things that I need to see happen from the bulls. Need to get me back above this 337 area to really create a little bit of a buffer, a little bit of safe space, and reset. So we're looking on all these stocks, guys. Step number 1, we're getting some little bounces here. I just need more bounce follow through. One day is not enough. And reset these daily uptrends to the upside here. Be sure that our weekly moves down are finished and give the bulls a chance on the weeklies. Now let's move down to Tesla. Tesla, terrible day today, down 5%. The whole entire market was up, but because of negative demand concerns here, you can see the headline right here. We talked about it in ON Semiconductor earnings. Negative demand concerns. Few analysts came out and said that EV demand, right, across Volkswagen, Ford, GM, those manufacturers are pulling back some of their production of EVs because they are expensive to make. Now, obviously, Tesla has a bit more pricing power in their EV division than those other manufacturers. The other manufacturers manufacture their EVs at a loss, so it's normal that they're trying to cut the losses. Tesla with a little bit more pricing power here, but still not enough to get away from the negative sentiment of the headline today. So daily downtrend continuing on Tesla at this point, flushing the 200 psychological level, as we've said in previous videos, guys. The next little areas of support here, guys, come in pretty much in the 180 area, right? So still a little bit more of a drop here on Tesla. Daily downtrend, I'm going to be looking. We're still quite oversold on Tesla. Let me just move the chart over here. You'll see that we're still oversold on the RSI down here on Tesla. So I am looking for a relative bottom, especially after a day like today. If we get a few more of these guys and start pulling into the higher 180s, I may just make a little bit of an attempt, maybe in the 170, 175 area here for some short puts. I am looking to play Tesla on the options, but I wanted to give the earnings here a little bit of breathing room here. But if we do move down in this lower area, I may be picking up some options, some short puts on Tesla here to maybe look in and buy some shares. Under 180 would be a very, very decent spot for me. As of now, bears maintain their full control here on the daily and are unfortunately now at this point in a weekly downtrend too. So we will be looking at these lower levels here. 180 all the way down to pretty much 163 is really the bottom area of this little support range here. So depending if the bulls can save it before that, but as of now, the bears are in full control. So I'm going to let them kind of exhaust themselves here and then try to position accordingly here. The bulls have a lot of work to do to reverse this daily uptrend eventually. And now our two last ones, Palantir and PayPal. Palantir coming down again, guys. Palantir earnings on Thursday here. So we'll see. I need to see Palantir stay away as much as possible from this 1367 area here, right? If we get too close and they have bad earnings, they're going to flush this area, flush that area, guys. It's been weekly support for so long at this point. It's also monthly support, and that would not be good, guys. You'd kind of be setting a little monthly pullback here as well, which would not be good. I'm expecting good earnings from Palantir, guys. They guided very well last quarter, so we should have positive net income this quarter as well. That's the main focus for this company. Daily downtrend by the bears is confirmed at this point. Coming in hot, not yet oversold though, guys. So the key area for earnings, 1370, watch it very, very, very closely, because if we smash through, then the bears can use this as resistance and potentially get back a bit more, guys. If we come through here, I am a buyer of Palantir, $12 to $11. I know it's a fair bit away here, but anything can happen on earnings. You guys know this quarter has proven that, to say the least here. So daily downtrend confirmed by the bulls. On the weekly, the bulls still have a bit more wiggle room here. The lows are the same, right? The lows are the exact same here on the weekly. 1360 is the area that I've been watching. They can save this weekly uptrend with good earnings and push to the highs here, but now is crucial for Palantir. Earnings is going to be absolutely everything for this company. Watch this area. I cannot stress it enough, guys. The 200 daily moving average is here as well. Bulls, if they want to recapture the daily uptrend, I'm going to need to see a break of 1689 to the upside and reset this daily uptrend and really continue this weekly uptrend push here. So earnings on Thursday, absolutely crucial. And PayPal as well with earnings, guys, on Wednesday. So we're going to see, can PayPal recover from this absolute disastrous sell-off that they've been having here for the better part of the last earnings cycle, right? So they had great earnings last quarter. I'm very surprised that PayPal came down this much. The value on this company, I'll repeat it once again, very, very good value on PayPal, in my opinion, if you like the company and you believe in them for the long-term future here. I still do. They still do have double-digit growth, and they have a heck of a large customer base, not only in the US, but internationally as well. One of the leading payment processors in the world at this point. So I will be giving them a chance. Earnings on Wednesday, absolutely crucial, guys. One of two things is going to happen. Either going to get the extreme flush down into the 40 area. At that point, I will definitely be averaging down from my position that I have here in the mid 60s. But if our earnings are good here, guys, and they smash earnings and they revise guidance to the upside here, guys, if we get a break of 55, that could give the bulls enough space here to potentially set a new daily uptrend and potentially bottom us out on this weekly downtrend that we've been having here, then we'll be looking obviously to the mid 60 area as our next target. But first target here is definitely 55. Need to see the bulls get above that, engulf this most recent weekly daily downtrend here, engulf it and reset the daily uptrend to the upside. Weekly earnings are going to be crucial. So we either get the flush to the downside and I'll be buying, but if we get a nice little move to the upside and slight retrace here, then, right, when we're coming down for the higher low for the potential reversal here, I will be targeting this lower 50 area for writing options here and start farming a bit more premium. I just don't like farming premium when it's on a clear daily downtrend. Don't really like catching a falling knife. I need to find more of a base of support. So we'll see what happens. That's pretty much it that I had for you guys today. Didn't really touch the portfolio. All the covered calls from the portfolio are still in play from last Friday. So if you didn't see the portfolio, go to last Friday. We had a great day on the portfolio today. A lot of things up. We're still pretty much covered. I have not written anything today, guys. Very, very big week with Jerome Powell, and I am assigned quite a few positions here, so I don't really want to overdo it. And I also have AMD earnings tomorrow, so we'll see how that plays out. I'm saving my buying power for a potential average down here on AMD or Apple if they absolutely plunge through the floor after their earnings, or if Jerome Powell has some really hawkish comments for the market. So that's pretty much it for today. I'll try to do a portfolio update tomorrow after AMD earnings and see what we're doing for that, but as of now, no change. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, consider liking it. Really helps me out for the algorithm, and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. 420 subscribers almost, guys. Very, very beautiful engagement. I love all of you for subscribing, guys. I love doing these videos. So we're going to keep pumping them out pretty much every single day after the close. And as always, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them down there. Any questions on macro options or specific stocks, I will gladly answer you guys. So take care. I'll see you guys after the close tomorrow. Big day on earnings tomorrow, guys. AMD, right? Big, big, big day. And we're going to go over Caterpillar tomorrow as well. Potentially some Caesars Entertainment too. So take care, guys. I'll see you after the close tomorrow. Peace.